Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about what I believe is the weakest zodiac sign. It does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. And I'm going to elaborate and expound on that when I say the weakest zodiac sign. What I'm referring to is as far as weakness in character, because I understand that all zodiac signs have positive and negative traits. So, I mean, we all have weak traits, we have positive traits in our zodiac signs, but I'm talking about specifically weakness in character, which one is the weakest. So, anyway, first, I'm going to talk about Aries. Well, Aries, be hard pressed to say that they were the weakest of the zodiac signs because Aries can be very forceful, aggressive, and assertive. They often have, little or no physical fear. They're be very confrontational. They will often stand up for themselves and for others, and they're ones to not, back down from a challenge because they have the no fear, concept in them. You look at, they have tremendous, bravery and courage. And even though they're not a fixed sign, it's really one of the stronger signs, I believe, in the zodiac. They often exhibit great leadership prowess and ability, and have tremendous, powers as far as their vitality goes and the physical strength. So it's really for me, it's hard for me to say they're the weakest, so I'd say no to Aries. Now, going to the zodiac sign Taurus. Now, Taurus is a fixed sign. They can be very stubborn, but they have tremendous powers of perseverance. They have much latent energy behind powers of endurance. They stubbornly will stick to a project or endeavor through thick and thin. Can often be very persistent. They will stay with things which can daunt many others because they have tremendous stick-to-itiveness, and as far as their tenacity and persistence, it may be unmatched in the zodiac. So it would be hard. They have great determination too, and their loyalty to their friends is very strong. They can be very loyal and steadfast companions. So it'd be hard for me to say that Taurus would be the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now we're going to go to Gemini. Well, Gemini could be, I would say they're one of the weaker of the zodiac signs, given it's a mutable sign. The mutable signs tend to be, coerced a little bit easier than the other signs on average. And but Gemini, they, they're ones which will, often, take flight, unfortunately, during, adverse periods, and the thing about it is with, Gemini, they kind of, they can be very, as far as fickle and flighty. They don't have, the tremendous, stick-to-itiveness, the persistence like, like Taurus may have, and the other, fixed signs, collectively. They could be very, in terms of their worrisome, energy. They're very, it's not like, they're not really in terms of the strong-willed. They are not, the most strong-willed of the zodiac signs. Now, Gemini can, they have their certain strengths. Don't get me wrong; they can outmaneuver others, and that really, helps aid them, in terms of, battles in some situations. But, the character is not exactly, overly, strong or robust for Gemini, and so it really, for me, they're not. I don't think it's the weakest sign, but it's one of the weaker ones, I would say. But now I'm going to go to the zodiac sign Cancer, and Cancer, can often be seen as weak by others. It's interesting. One of my online haters referred to me as a Cancer wimp one day because my sun sign's in Cancer. But the thing about Cancer is, though, even though they don't, come across as, have an overabundance of strength of character, they can be rather timid and submissive. But Cancer can often be a very strong family defender, and they have, even though it's not a fixed sign, they could be tremendously dedicated, devoted, and tenacious. And they're actually similar to Taurus, even though Cancer is a cardinal sign because of the stick-to-itiveness, the tenacity that the sign has. But their moods will sometimes derail them, from following through on certain projects, I would say. But Cancer is, a sign that is not, really like as weak as a lot of people may, perceive them to be. But they're not, in terms of, the standing up, for oneself and the ability to confront, or the will is just not as strong in terms of the fixed signs, but they're still not. I don't think Cancer is the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now I'm going to go to the zodiac sign Leo. Now Leo, is actually very strong. They're not. It would be hard pressed for me to say that the zodiac sign Leo is the weakest of the zodiac signs. Leo can actually be very domineering. They often have dominant personalities, and they have that that ferocity in them. They're ones which will often stay with projects and endeavors because I believe it would have something to do with the pride and the ego, which would prevent them from being defeated. And so it's like they will often stay with something through thick and thin because of this. And it's also it's always like that try harder than the previous time type of attitude they have is what enables them to follow through on a lot of projects and endeavors, and ability to have exhibit a lot of, often can exhibit a lot of courage as well, and fortitude. And that is and so Leo would not be the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now going to Virgo. Well, I would say Virgo is one of the the weaker of the signs, but because it's a mutable sign, it's very changeable. It's inclined toward fear and worry. There seems to be a correlation with fear, worry, apprehension, and being susceptible to sudden elements of threatened danger or disaster. And this is where Virgo, is one of the weaker of the signs, but Virgo can be very industrious, hardworking. They will be punctual for others, be timely, even in adverse periods. So they're a weaker sign, but they're not, I wouldn't say, the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now going to Libra. Well, Libra is a cardinal sign. Libra, although that's a sign that is not confrontational. It's one that likes peace, harmony, and justice, but Libra will fight for matters connected with injustice when necessary. They abhor injustice, and Libra will be, that person that will, stand up for others in certain instances when things are not fair to the person. They generally don't want to get involved or intervene, in terms of getting involved in an actual, a lot of arguments with others, but they could be good mediators, for those people. They don't like to take sides, so they could be a little bit ambivalent and indecisive because of that. But Libra will still fight for or for matters with justice when necessary. So it's hard for me to say that they're the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now going to the zodiac sign Scorpio. Well, Scorpio can have inordinate willpower. They're very resourceful and resilient. Their bounce back ability is tremendous. They're symbolized by the phoenix rising from the ashes. So it's hard to say that Scorpio would be the weakest of the zodiac signs. They have very strong willpower and determination. And again, the fact that they come back strongly from adverse, situations and circumstances. And to me, it's really it's hard for me to say that Scorpio will be the weakest. They seem to almost always emerge victorious in the long run. Scorpio is not one, that may win all, physical battles or even verbal warfare, but they seem to win the war eventually over others. So, I don't think Scorpio is the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now, going to Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, though it's a mutable sign, can be very frank and fearless. They generally, are really against, people trying to drive them or order them around. They have a very strong, independent streak. They will often say things that others will not say, not worry about, the repercussions connected with them. So, and they do have certain bravery and be able to, stand up, for certain things, their beliefs and their philosophies. They could be very strongly connected with and sometimes fight for them if need be. Even though Sagittarius, and being a mutable sign, tends to be easygoing, they still have certain certain courage and fortitude connected with them. So I wouldn't say Sagittarius is the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now, going to Capricorn. Well, Capricorn, even though Capricorn is not a fixed sign, they can still have very strong concentration of power. They can, stay with a lot of projects through thick and thin. Capricorn people often, they may not be the most robust or biggest all the time, but they seem to have, the strength to be able to carry on, to do what needs to be done, in terms of their work, their business, their career, and will often be the ones to work, extensive hours to do things that are career related, and in looking after it could also be very adept at looking after their own interests and taking care of oneself. So it's a sign for me. I mean, they could be very strong-willed too, and it's not a fixed sign. So I do see them. I don't see them as the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now I'm gonna go to Aquarius. Well, Aquarius is a fixed sign, and they're ones where little daunts them. When they want to get something done, whether it's some project connected with innovation or new technology or what have you, they will they can often stay with it through thick and thin because it is a fixed sign. They're very humanitarian. They're ones that can be a really staunch ally or friend to somebody. Their loyalty to their friends may really be unmatched because Aquarius is like that universal friend, and they will stand by, their convictions often through thick and thin, even if their ideas are a little oblique or unusual. They will stand by them and not worry about, outside criticism deterring them from their beliefs on matters. And they can be very strong human rights, advocates. They could be the ones to do certain things, no matter how, audacious they may be or unusual, no matter what others say. There was one guy, I believe he had a son in Aquarius, and Nick Walenda or something similar. You may want to confer that online. And I think he did like the first tightrope over the Grand Canyon with no netting. I mean, Aquarius is that one, again, that will do things that others often will not do or they're too fearful of doing. So I don't see Aquarius as the weakest of the zodiac signs. Now, last but not least, I'm going to go to Pisces. Well, Pisces can certainly be a viable candidate to be the weakest of the zodiac signs. Pisces can be very submissive, timid. They often disdain any kind of confrontation. They can be about their isolation and will often avoid situations, and they resort to escapist tactics in order to avoid them. It could just simply be by isolating themselves, from others and the world in general. And so they can be the weakest of the zodiac signs, but I'll tell you at the end of the video whether I think it's them or not. Now, anyway, I'm going to reveal now what what I believe is the weakest of the zodiac signs, and I am going to go with the zodiac sign Pisces on this. And the thing about this is, as I was stating before, about, there could be a strong inability to confront with Pisces. Pisces may be defenseless at times, and they are ones that be very passive, submissive, and timid, and they often be very fragile as well in terms of, emotionally, dealing with certain, their issues, whether they're going through some trials and tribulations in their life, adversity, or what have you. And I'm not here to, stereotyping and saying all Pisces are created the same way. We got to look at everything, in the chart. I mean, we have the sun, the moon, the ascendant to look at. And Pisces, the ones that are born in that, the third decan, the Scorpio decan, which falls between 20 to 29.59 degrees of Pisces, can be, or generally I would say would be more strong-willed compared to the other two deacons, because they have the Scorpio flavoring in them. And somebody with a Pisces sun and Leo ascendant is going to have, a much stronger personality compared to somebody with a Pisces sun and Pisces rising. So you have to, factor in everything. So I know it's probably going to irritate some people, when by me saying this, but about Pisces. But again, I know they're not all created equal. And the thing that, Pisces, as well, what makes them, I think I'd say the weakest of the zodiac signs is the strong impressionability, being so malleable, being able, because they're often easily influenced by others, and people often exploit the gullibility too of the sign, and see and take advantage of the the strong compassionate nature of the sign. And there's nothing wrong with being compassionate, but the thing about it is Pisces will, unfortunately, people see that side of them, and they, and I think they see that Pisces is one, again, is one that can have certain gullibility, unfortunately, and there's people that do exploit that and take advantage of that. And it's just the fact that they don't always emotionally deal, with situations and problems, that well. And it just, for me, I would say it's the weakest of, the zodiac signs, because of this, in terms of the, the strength of character. And again, I know that all signs, exhibit, positive and negative characteristics, weak characteristics, positive, strong characteristics, and Pisces certainly has a lot of strong characteristics, including being, compassionate, altruistic, sacrificing, forgiving, idealistic, as some examples. But as far as the weakness in character, I think they're the ones that are, the weakest, just on average, is what I'm saying. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.